Hey guys, it's Dylan, and this week we are going to take questions from Twitter about how urban development in Chicago is related to the surrounding forests. At John Rain 487 asked, how does development in Chicago affect the forests around it? Well, John, Chicago is a very big city with a population of 2.7 million and an area of 234 square miles, most of which has been or is being developed. Although this may be good for humans, this development of land may not be good for the forests. It's forcing deer to move out of places where they used to live, letting invasive species become more prevalent and harder to control, and making the environment unsuitable for trees that used to live in the city and around Lake Michigan. All of these factors impact the forest one way or another. At J Mulligan 6265 asked, how does development in Chicago affect the deer and forest as you mentioned it did? So, hundreds of years ago, deer used to be very prevalent in the Chicago area because it was a big forest with many natural resources. But recent human development is forcing these deer to move further and further away from the forest so that they can find forests that suit them. This is causing many forests around the Chicago area to become overpopulated with deer, and causing areas such as Kane County to use hunters to control their deer population. This overpopulation leads to deer taking up a lot more energy from a forest than they used to, and eating the natural forest that remains. One such example of this can be found at the North Park Nature Center, where managers of the forest preserve are now putting fences around the trees and shrubs to keep deer from eating them. At Andrea Phillips 47 asked, you said that development is making the environment unsuitable for trees that used to live in the city. How is that happening? Development in Chicago is causing plant hardiness zones to shift, which is the standard by which gardeners and growers can determine which plants are most likely to thrive at a location. It's shifting because decreases in growing season moisture due to warmer, drier summers caused by local emissions being produced. This will cause many of Chicago's nearly 100 tree species to migrate northward or to just decline in abundance. Projections suggest that suitable habitats of important species such as northern red oak, black cherry, white oak, sugar maple, and red maple will decline substantially, but will probably not disappear altogether. At Alex Jones 897 asked, you said development is letting invasive species become more prevalent and harder to control, which affects trees. How so? Development in Chicago also requires a lot of people to use energy and release chemicals such as CO2 into the atmosphere. Many invasive species are known to respond to increased atmospheric concentrations of CO2, suggesting that they will become more aggressive and more costly to control with increasing greenhouse gas emissions. These include many species that already live in and around the Chicago area, as well as many that live around Lake Michigan, like knapweed and Canada thistle, which take away nutrients from the soil and therefore cause trees to die quicker. Thank you for watching.